All right, everyone. Big news. Big, 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 big news. Just hit the U Stadium desk. Davante Adams, Rodgers' boy, Mr. used to be the GOAT wide receiver in the NFL, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, has just requested a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders. This is huge news. Huge on multiple fronts. Huge because there's a bunch of teams out there that could use a receiver like Davante Adams. And it's huge because I'm a Jets fan. There's many Jet fans out there. Shout outs to everyone listening right now. We're going to keep this live for a little bit. But this is monumental because a team like the New York Jets that have struggled to really have a receiver, have any chemistry outside of Allen Lazard with Aaron Rodgers. There's a receiver out there that has amazing chemistry with Aaron in Davante Adams that is available. So this is big, big news. If you want to hop in the stream, I see Dom out there. Anybody that wants to hop in, I'm on StreamYard right now. I'm going to get this link out there. Join me on the stream. You're listening to U Stadium. You're with Frankie V. We're going to talk all about this. We're going to go through what the Jets could offer. I see people right now. Dom, big time, dude. This is a big, big thing going on, and I would love Davante Adams here. But I'm going to get into what I would like, and I'm going to get into what I really wouldn't like when it comes to Davante Adams. But let's get into this. LLE, it is time. It might be time. It might be. I mean, we're looking at Garrett Wilson not really having much chemistry yet with Aaron. How long is that going to take? You're looking at a team that only scored 9 points. We couldn't score a touchdown this past Sunday. Davante Adams makes sense. Davante Adams makes a lot of sense. But let's get into this right now. My man Ryan, I see you down there. Get it done, Joe Douglas. Listen, you got to think about this from Joe Douglas's perspective. Is this something he needs to do to keep his job? We saw what happened with Hassan Reddick. That third-round pick would have been nice to have that pick now, although we do have 2 third-round picks next year. So we might be able to get this done anyway. But does Joe Douglas need to do this to keep his job? I would love to see what you all think. Let's see. Ryan, Schefter reporting the starting price for Adams is a second-round pick and additional compensation. Okay, so next year, I'll pop this up right here. This is not the best graphic in the world, but let's pop this up because I'm going to show you all what it will take potentially for Davante Adams to come here or what we have available. Let's throw this right now. So the Jets right now, this is what the Jets compensation looks like. We got, okay, if you look here, what we got is this. This is our capital next year. The Jets next year, we have a first-round pick, obviously. We have a second-round pick. We have 2 third-round picks. 2. We traded, if you remember, our 2024 fourth rounder to get a 2025 third. So we have 2 third-round picks. We have ours. We have Detroit's. We have a 4th. We have a 5th. We have 2 6th. Thank you, Nicole Hardman. And we have 2 7th. So, listen, what do you do? What do you do, guys, gals, everyone out there? What does it look like? Armand, what's good, my guy? Alex from Jersey, let's go, Joe. In Joe we trust. Hey, might be time. Give them both our thirds. Okay, we got both the thirds right here. You give them both of these? Might be the way to go. Extra third and a conditional 5. I like that, Jetcast. Ray, Paul, salutes to you guys. Steve, I don't know if Vegas is going to be happy with that. What you need to hope for here is that there's no better offer out there on the table. That the third and the conditional 5, I like that deal, by the way, Ray and Jetcast. I love that deal. That's perfect. Give them a third, our third, give them a conditional 5. Even give them a conditional 4. That could maybe turn into a third, a little bit high. But again, they want a second. Let's look at this here. take this off. But yeah, if you want to join this stream, I'm going to pop this in the chat right now. Come on, join me. Let's talk a little bit about this because this is big, big news. Davante Adams, that a lot of Jet fans have been clamoring for. Everyone really wants Davante here. I'm sure Aaron does too. Is this the move that we need to make? Do we need to give up more assets? Do we need to really go all in on 2024 to maybe make the Super Bowl run a reality? I'm going to post this out here. If you want to join the chat or if you want to join the stream, get on StreamYard here. Shout outs to you all. I'm posting this right now. So if you want to join the stream, just click this link. What do we got? Give them a second and Reddick for Adams and a fourth. The thing is, I don't think Hassan Reddick has much value right now. Who wants Hassan Reddick, man? I mean, I wish that wasn't the case, Dylan, but Hassan doesn't really have much value right now, my guy. I wish, but I don't know, man. I think what he's doing right now, I don't think fares well for any of his value moving forward. He wants that money. Hassan Reddick wants his bread. He wants 3 years, $65 million, 3 years, $70 million. He wants guaranteed money. He's lost almost $10 million this year. Hassan's lost. Does Vegas want to deal with that? Would you want to deal with that? I don't know. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Steve, that is what I think it'll take. I think it'll take next year's second. If you want Davante Adams here, if you want to just get this out of the way and done with, give them our second rounder next year. Or this is saying 2026, but give them the second rounder next year. Get it done with. Give them next year's second rounder. It's not ideal, but that'll end this. That'll bring Davante here. Send them a second. I don't care. Yes, they are. We've been hearing, we've been looking at the odds too. The Commanders are definitely interested. We just reported at U Stadium. Let me pop that up. That Washington is definitely in the mix for Davante. Definitely. It seems like it's a race between Washington and New York, but I don't know if those are the only two teams. I know that those are two teams that are definitely interested, but I don't know if those are the only two teams. But yeah, let's get this moving right now and see what kind of is going on. Shout outs to Nick, by the way, from U Stadium, sort of one of the first on this thing. But yeah, Davante Adams, you have a receiver that really can do some damage with Aaron. We know what they can do together, and he knows Nate Hackett. They've played together. He knows how to scheme up Davante. Unlike Garrett Wilson, Nate Hackett knows exactly what to do with Davante Adams. Maybe a third-team trade, three-team trade. Third team gets involved. Cowboys get Reddick. Jets get Adams. Yeah, I mean, that's like a more ideal situation. The problem is those kind of deals don't really happen. I mean, it's sort of rare, but I do hear you, Armand. I do, and shout outs to you. Would they be open to trading Corley? Listen, problem when you're trying to trade a first year player, a third round pick. This is first year Corley. There's no real value there to kind of judge off of. You picked him first in the third round. It's your first pick in round 3. What is a team gonna want to give you? And then are you ready to settle for fourth round value already? I mean, you picked him for a reason, right? So let's go and look at what's going on here. I'm going to share some stuff from U Stadium. Shout outs to everyone out there. We almost got 1,000 people tuning in. Appreciate the love. Appreciate it. But yeah, this is huge. This is big, big news, baby, because Davante comes to town. Aaron, Davante back with Hackett. You got Garrett out there. Things are going to get really, really spicy. But before I share some of the up-and-coming recent news breaking on this, I want to bring up my man, bringing you on, my guy, Mr. Benny Blanco.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, my guy? Man? Dude, it's good having you on, man. I'm happy to see you, bro.
Of course, bro. Hope you're doing well, bro. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. You?
Doing great, bro. Can't complain. Can't complain.
What are your thoughts, my guy? Give it to me.
Listen, I think this is a move that I don't know. I think it kind of needs to happen if we're going to be a real like championship contender this year. I like Garrett. We have good enough weapons, like good weapons. But I don't know, man. When I look at the Eagles, like they drafted Davante Smith, but that didn't stop them from going out and getting AJ Brown. Like stack the chips and go win. And obviously, we've seen the disconnect between Garrett and Rodgers so far. Like it would just take some of that pressure, and I feel like Garrett's putting a lot of pressure on himself. Just take some of that pressure away from him and let Davante come here, let it go. And I said it in the chat earlier. I would give away both our thirds. That's where I would start the conversation. I would be willing to accept giving away a second. I just don't know like the grade, like the draft scale, whatever. If 2/3 equate to a second, almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, it kind of depends where you expect that second to be. So if you expect the Jets to have a later second rounder, then maybe 2/3 could equate to that. But if you think the Jets might not be, drafting in the late, 50s, then maybe that won't be the same because you just want to see kind of where that value kind of lines up. Because obviously, like a pick in the top 50 is always valuable. Top 45. So if you think the Jets are going to draft like in 55th or somewhere between that and the end of the second, maybe not. But I'll say this, man. I agree with you with the Garrett thing. The thing is, if you bring in Davante, you also have Lazard, you also have Mike Williams. What does that do to Garrett's looks? What does it do to his targets? Garrett Wilson's one of the most targeted players. I think he is the most targeted player in his first 2 years in NFL history. So what does that do to his sort of development? Are you telling Garrett that, hey, you're not who we thought you were? And does that kind of affect his confidence moving forward a bit? Are there enough looks to go around? You have Garrett, you have Devon. I mean, from a fan's perspective, that makes sense. But are we giving up a little bit too early on Garrett? You know what I mean? Where, like, let's give Garrett a little bit more time. And then you got to think about it, too. Is Davante a little bit, over the hill? Is he getting over the hill a little bit, man? I mean, like, there's a reason he's been, moving around a bit. I know he took his money, but is he a little bit over the hill? Do we even want to flirt with that? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's safe to say Davante probably isn't the same exact guy, but I do wonder about where Garrett's mentality would be. Like you kind of see him at certain points moping around, like his body language hasn't been what you would want to see from your number one when he isn't getting the looks and he isn't getting the yards and touchdowns. I guess like how he expected. And honestly, I don't know about you. Even when he scored that touchdown and he kind of just ran off and like didn't celebrate with Rodgers.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was.
I think I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate with your guys. Like they got you that look. It was forced. So I do wonder how Garrett's mentality would be taking that back seat. But hopefully you would have to hope that he's mature enough and to have that conversation with him where you're still going to be a really big part of the offense. Now you're not going to be followed by Patrick Surtain anymore. You're not going to be followed by Christian Gonzalez nonstop anymore. These looks are going to be more open for you. So hopefully he's able to accept that. I think he will. I just hope we're able to get this deal done, and I think we will.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. I love it. And when we do get that deal done, I'm going to send you something special. I don't know what it is, but if that deal gets done, you're the first person on this live stream, so I got to get you something special, all right? So I got you.
I got you, bro. I'm gonna get out of here,
Benny,
bro.
be good, my guy.
You.
Be safe. I'll talk to you soon, my guy. Appreciate it. All right, so yeah, big news. The Jets, Commanders, a couple other teams. I'm going to give you the odds right now. Again, sometimes these odds of like next teams, odds, etc., kind of BS. I'm going to be real about that. I don't really trust them always. But what we have right now is, and I'll pop this up, and Ryan Sampson, my guy from the New York Post. Ryan, if you want to come up, shoot me an email, shoot me a whatever message. I'll get you the link. I would love to have you on this stream right now. I just kind of did this. I was actually going to hit you up to do this, but I figured I would. The Jets initially plan to pay Reddick $15 million for the year. So if they have given up on him and don't want to cut ties, then they should have the budget for Adams for this year. Yes. However, Davante's contract is a little bit more complicated than that. So Davante this year is scheduled to make, I'm popping this up right now, his 2024 cap hit is $25 million. So you have that $17.5 in cash. On the base, it's 17, but overall, you're looking at 25.3 million. We can incur that by moving around some things, but I don't think it's as slam dunk as maybe we may think. You have to factor in that money. You have to factor in the future implications of that money. Davante Adams, if you're not aware, signed a 5-year, $104 million, $140 million contract with the Raiders that included $65 million guaranteed. Okay, now the Raiders have an out with Davante. They haven't traded him yet, so he's still on the team. They have an out with Davante next year. So not this year, the end of next year, they have an out in 2025. So where or when Davante's scheduled to make a lot of freaking money. His cap next year, Davante Adams, is $44.1 million. His cap the next year, Davante Adams, is $44.1 million. Now, I'm sure if Rodgers is going to stick around for another 2 years, they might rework that contract. Davante, come play with the Jets. We'll rework that money for the next couple years, the outs included, but we'll be able to kind of play around with some numbers so we're not getting that $44 million on the cap. Adams will get one coverage. Wilson will get open more. Yes, I agree with that. The thing that I don't necessarily agree with is I don't think it's a seamless fit in this offense. Outside of his connection with Aaron and Nate, I don't think it's as seamless as people think. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the Jets offense. Garrett, Lazard, Mike Williams, Tyler Conklin, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall. Where does Davante fall in that? You know, there's only so many drives you have a game, only so many snaps. So Davante coming in, someone's going to have to take a back seat. Maybe two people will have to take a back seat, which I'm fine with. If you're going to tell the team that Lazard, it was cool, you look good, take a back seat. Mike, do what you do, but you're not going to be getting more and more targets as the year's moving on. It's going to be the Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson show. I would not have that conversation with Garrett. I would not go to Garrett Wilson, your star, your up-and-coming premier wide receiver one. I would not tell Garrett, hey, Davante's coming in to take your looks, your targets. It's not a conversation you want to have. Trust me on that. And it's not a conversation I think we need to have. So I think there's other ways to go about this where if the Jets were to bring in Davante Adams, there's a more effective way of getting Davante his looks in order to help us win football games. That does not involve us making Garrett Wilson necessarily a second option, although he might have to be one if Davante comes in. But, yeah, we're going to get this graphic up right here, courtesy of U Stadium Twitter. If you don't follow us at U Stadium, if you don't have our app, I have the little thing right there. This camera is weird. Yes, right there. Just get that QR code, and we got some cool stuff coming with U Stadium. So right now, this is what we got. So this is the Adams situation will move quickly. We're reporting. Both sides want to get it done. There are multiple teams expected to show interest. We're told. U Stadium's told. That's us, you know. We're told the Jets and the Commanders are expected to be involved. And then we have the next team odds right here. So it looks like, based on Bet Online, that the Jets are the favorites at minus 200. That's a heavy favorite right there. That's heavy. You got the Chiefs up there, plus 450. Now with the Rice injury, we're still getting news on that. They're not being completely, I don't know if it's being transparent, but it's not completely known whether or not that's an ACL tear or not. But the Ravens, the Bills are interesting. Imagine he goes to the Buffalo Bills. That would be a nightmare to see. Steelers, Saints, these are just kind of like, hey, they don't have like premier wide receiver ones. Let's just throw those teams in there. You don't see the Commanders on there, though. So the Commanders are not on this list, although we just saw some news from U Stadium that they are involved. So I'm curious to see how this shapes out. Again, I don't take these next team odd lists too serious, but it's interesting. So with that said, if you want to join the chat, Let's get things moving. I appreciate everyone in the chat, gang. We're almost at 1,500 right now. Shout outs. Winning solves all problems unless you are Elijah Moore. Freddie Galamad Church to that. I completely agree. I think Davante Adams does one thing, and that helps you win football games, and it helps you win with Aaron. It helps you win with Aaron. I mean, if you're not familiar with Davante Adams, I don't know what you've been watching over the last couple of years, but I'll give you a little bit of context on Davante. In 2022, he went to Vegas, or then I believe it was Oakland. No, it was Vegas. He had 1,500 yards. So people say Davante's over the hill. Maybe, but he wasn't over the hill when he went to Vegas because that year he had 100 catches for 1,500 yards. The year before that, he was in Green Bay with Aaron. He had 1,553 with 123 catches. The year before that, 2020 MVP Aaron, he had 18 touchdowns, 1,374, 115 catches. Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers is as deadly of a quarterback wide receiver duo combo, whatever you want to call it, as you're going to get in the NFL. It's one of the best combos as you'll see in NFL history. So if the Jets can get this done, this is a massive, massive W. But with every trade comes a responsibility and comes a negotiation where it's what are you giving back or what are you giving Vegas? Yes, you could give them a first-round pick. Davante's here. Is it worth a first-round pick is the question. Again, a lot of mouths to feed. What does it kind of look like? We'll get back to some of the chat, gang. JM, what do you think the Commanders would package to get Adams if they're really interested? Well, listen, Washington's a very, very, very exciting team. They have the quarterback now. It seems like in Jaden Daniels, they got a lot of moving pieces. They look like they could be really, really good for the foreseeable future. So you have Cliff there. They have a really, really fast-paced offense. Sort of makes sense with what Davante likes to do. I don't know if it makes that much sense due to age. You don't want to really get an aging veteran receiver when you're trying to build a more young sort of team. But we've seen it happen before. You've seen players like Keenan Allen go into the Bears, for example, and you kind of think like that doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't at this point. But when you start winning solves, as somebody said earlier, as Freddie said earlier, winning solves everything. So maybe Davante going to a young team makes sense. But I think they would package a second-round pick if they really believe that they're ready to win in the next couple of years. Why not? Benny. I think, all right, so if I had to put a guesstimation on this, I think a deal gets done sooner rather than later. So I don't think it's going to take until Friday. Like, I think we're in season, right? So, Benny, we're in season, meaning teams want players in as fast as they can. Teams want to know who's starting at wide receiver 1, 2, what kind of packages are we setting up, what kind of game plan are we putting together. The longer Vegas waits to trade Davante and he's not involved with the team or he's disinterested, the worse off you are in terms of getting a game plan together for Sunday or whenever you're playing the following week. So Vegas probably wants this done quick, man. And whatever team's bringing in Davante wants this done as fast as possible too. For the Jets, we can bring in Davante tomorrow. We might be able to play him on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon for them. We're going to be watching Sunday morning. He might be able to play in London. So if you can get him in tomorrow or Thursday, unlikely. I'm just saying, the sooner you get somebody in, the sooner they're involved, the sooner they're factored into your plans, and the sooner the team that traded them, Vegas, is able to factor their team without Davante. And Antonio Pierce is coaching for his job. That's another variable in this whole thing. Don't think Antonio Pierce thinks, we're going to wait around and your second might be higher than their second. Let's use their, because it's a higher second. No. They're going to, if they get a deal that they like, they're going to pull the trigger. That's it. Let's get this guy out of here. And I said this when I tweeted this. I said this to people when Antonio Pierce came out and had his comments that there are players on this team that are making business decisions. I thought when he said that, based on the clips and based on watching some of that game, I was watching a little bit of the third quarter, that he was talking about Davante Adams. Now, nobody knows who Pierce was talking about. I think he was talking about Adams or Adams and a couple other players, but I think Adams was one of those players. I mean, it seems that way. So Pierce probably wants this guy out of there too. I think it gets done in the next 24 hours. I think it gets done by tomorrow night. Latest Thursday. Thursday, this thing should be done. Hey, where's my U Stadium hoodie? Who is all right? You're blocked. Sorry. No, just kidding. Jojo, the hoodies are not out yet, even though they should be because it's basically hoodie season. The hoodies at U Stadium will be launched in the next 10 days. I'm going to give you a 10-day window. I don't want to say a week because whenever I say a week, it's never a week. So 10 days. I'm going to give you a week and a half, Jojo. We got you. I know they're in division, but the Kansas City have a chance to get him. I mean, listen, Rodney, the thing is, and this has changed in sports over the last couple years, you're starting to see players being traded in division, in conference, etc. If the deal makes sense, you can get a deal done. I don't think the days of don't trade him here, don't put him here because we might see him there. No. If it makes sense, they'll get it done. Vegas is kind of still rebuilding, unfortunately. They always seem to be rebuilding. So I think they're just going to try to get this thing done, and whoever has the best offer, they'll give it to them. You know, sometimes teams have to look in the mirror and say, we can't beat Kansas City, but maybe we could take some of Kansas City's assets and they'll beat themselves. Just a thought. All right, we're on with you, Stadium. I'm going to see if I can get some people in. I'm curious what people think about this. Shout outs to the chat gang. We're almost at 2,000 at 1,700 and counting. Rocking some of these metrics. Let's go. Let's eat. Like that stream. Like that shit, baby. Comment on the stream. Come in the freaking chat or come on the show. I got you. I'll hook you up. I'll ask you some softball questions. But yeah, right now, the latest on this whole front. Let's see what we got out there. So, Rich Cimini just tweeted. Rich Cimini, pretty in tune with the New York Jets, is reporting, it looks like Davante is on the trading block. Obviously, he requested a trade. That didn't take long. Have to believe Rodgers will be lobbying the front office to make it happen. That's pricey for a 31-year-old wide receiver with $13.5 in remaining salary this year. Bring in Davante, you're going to pay him out the rest of the year. You're not going to pay him from day one. You pay him whatever he's owed from here on out. But the Jets are in win now mode, Rich is saying, and want to keep Rodgers happy. They should definitely explore it. You know, what he said, and maybe he didn't directly say it this way, but what I'm gathering from that, and it's a point, where is Rodgers how content is Rodgers with this offense and these skill positions? Where is his happiness variable? How happy is Aaron right now with Garrett? How happy is he with Mike? How happy is he with Allen, with Tyler, with those backs? Is Aaron going to be lobbing for this? You think Aaron's going to call up Big Joe and say, hey, you calling Vegas for me? I don't know. I would lean towards no. I don't think Aaron's going to lobby for it. I think the Jets, Joe Douglas, I think they're going to want this for themselves without Aaron's necessary, pressure. Wouldn't you? Think about that. So I don't think this is something Aaron's got to lobby for. I think the Jets are going to do their diligence. They're going to contact Vegas and say, hey, what do you want for Davante? What does it look like? Do you really need a second-round pick? Holden Canner. If you don't follow Holden, one of the biggest Rams fans on the interweb, Holden says, what's up, my guy? You think the Rams will start selling if they lose another game and drop to 1-4? I mean, listen, to be honest, man, selling in football is a little bit different than selling in, for example, the NBA or baseball. I don't think there's enough trading volume going on where selling in the NFL is like something you do. Will they sell a player, trade a player? Yeah, I could see that. But I don't know if McVay is going to be like, oh, let's just unload 2 or 3 vets and try to gather some assets for them. I think you guys still have something. I think you went through a lot of injuries so far this season. So there's something still there with the Rams. So I think if you all can get healthy next year and bring in maybe another quarterback to learn maybe one last year from Stafford, or hand the keys from Stafford to somebody else midseason next year with McVay there and those guys, you guys can always win a game or 2 or make the playoffs. So I don't think so. Brett Steele, my dude, salutes. Brett, I need you to tell me if we're going to get Davante Adams. I need to know right now. So put it in the chat. Are we getting Davante Adams, yes or no? I'm going to put this in right now. Are the Jets getting Davante, yes or no? Comment now. All right. Adams to New York for Reddick. Listen, man, does Vegas want Reddick? Does anybody want Hassan Reddick? Do the Jets even want Hassan Reddick? I don't know. You tell me. I don't even. Hassan Reddick's market's dried up elsewhere. His market was dried up in the offseason. That's why we had to go and trade for him. His market dried up with his own team in Philly. They didn't want to pay him. We don't want to pay him. Who wants to pay this guy? You trade for Hassan Reddick. You got to pay the guy. Does anybody want to pay him? He doesn't show up. You want that headache? You think GMs want that? He had a bad year last year. For his standard, it was a bad year. It was as bad of a year as he had since his first couple of years in the NFL. Hassan's getting old. I don't know. Would I love him here? Yes. Do I think we need him? Kind of. Is he the missing piece to Vegas that they're going to want to pay him that money? No way. He might not even be the missing piece here. Another Reddick thing, Brett. I highly doubt it. Highly. I could be wrong. Yeah, no, Ryan, this is not going to happen. Mark my words, there is no way, no chance in hell. Been watching this McMahon documentary. It's actually amazing. I actually watched the whole thing. My cousin's here from Italy. Shout outs to Paolo, the GOAT. We watched the McMahon documentary. That thing's awesome. Yes, there's no chance. That's what this got. That was terrible. But there's no chance that Garrett Wilson's part of this deal. None. Garrett is the guy here. Garrett is the focal point of this offense. He is the guy. He's the 1A of this offense. Whether you've seen it, you believe it, you like it, you don't like it, he's the most important piece on this offense. Over Brees, because of the longevity variable with running backs, he's the guy, the skill guy that you're going to build around for years to come. They're not going to include him in a deal for a 31-year-old aging wide receiver. Not to say Davante's not a better fit right now, because I think he is. With Aaron, Davante's a better fit for sure right now. But who's to say, or what's to say by week 10, Garrett and Aaron are not firing on all cylinders, and you won't even factor in this Davante thing, assuming he goes elsewhere, and you're like, that was even a really stupid idea. Yeah, so to go to this right now, I'll say this, and this is the problem. And Ryan and I do the New York Post Sports post-game shows with Ryan after every Jets game, and we're going to go on this Sunday at, I believe, 12:30-ish, because it's a 9:30 a.m. game out overseas. Garrett Wilson is used to playing with the basura, the trash, the garbage quarterback play that we've had over the last 2 years. When he's running his routes, he's looking for the ball throughout the course of running a route, because these quarterbacks that he's played with have no timing. So get that. These quarterbacks say hike. Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Mike White, Joe Flacco. Flacco's a little different, but these quarterbacks, Sam, even though he didn't play with Sam, but this is the kind of this is the system that we've had here in New York. These guys do not have a precise passing game. It's not run a route and the ball's going to be there. Do not look at me during the route. Don't expect the ball during a route. Run a route, and I'm putting it right on that number, on that sideline. Garrett's not used to that. Garrett's used to balls being thrown at any point during a route, anywhere on his route tree, at any time. That's not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, it's run that post corner, get to that 42 on the sideline. Ball's going to be there. But get there quick and get there efficiently. That's not what Garrett's used to. It will take time. It took Davante 2 to 3 years with Aaron. I said this, and I tweeted this the other day. I have a really, really close person to me that I really trust in their football knowledge that told me that Davante Adams, at a point in his first couple years, was the worst NFL wide receiver he's ever seen. Ever. The worst. He's ever seen a worse wide receiver. Then he ended up being the best wide receiver in the NFL. Because Aaron will make you look bad if you're not properly running your routes. Garrett, stop looking at the quarterback. Garrett, run your damn route. You'll eventually get the ball. Zach's not here. Tim's not here. Mike White's not here. Are the Jets a legit contender for him? 100%. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, the Jets are favorites everywhere to get Davante Adams. This is what we've been talking about. This is what the league's wanted. This is what maybe Aaron wants. This is what maybe Davante wants. Nate Hackett definitely wants this. Think about this. Nate Hackett right now, knowing that the town hates him, that he's looked at as one of the worst coaches in football. Forget OCs. Look at one of worse on both sides. He would love this. Bring in your number one option during your quarterback's MVP runs. I mean, of course. So if there's anyone lobbying right now for Davante Adams, it's Nate Hackett. Nate Hackett's probably calling Robert or calling Joe himself. I don't know if he has that connection. He probably does. Say, hey, Joe, you inquiring there? Not going to lie. Why did they trade for him without a contract? So we're getting to Reddick. Listen, the thing with Hassan Reddick, they thought that they had a verbal agreement. They had some parameters in a verbal. Those parameters had some leeway. Maybe it was just over the line, and then you start playing hardball. For example, we'll extend you, Hassan. I'll give you an example. We'll extend you 3 years, $58 million with, $18 million guaranteed. Oh, okay. We want a little more, but we'll discuss. Oh, okay. They come in and they go, you know what? We want $68 million. Like, wait, what? You said it was okay to give us a little more. No, but not $10 million more. But it's only $3 million and change per year. But no, let's meet in the middle. No, we're at $68 million. That's the lowest we'll go, they're saying. Joe's like, I thought you guys liked 58 and a little more, meaning 62, 665 is more. That's basically something like that. Then one side requests a trade, maybe prematurely, or doesn't show up. I'm not playing by your rules. The other side doubles down and says, we're not trading you, show up, or you're not going to get paid. That's, I think, what happened. Something like that. All right. Holden. Josina just tweeted she spoke to a league source indicating an NFC team would have interest in Davante Adams, but not for a second-round pick. Seems like restructuring would be needed. Yeah, I mean, if you look at Davante's contract, I'll kind of throw this up here because this contract's a little bit heavy. So I'll put this up right here. We got. All right, so Davante's contract. I don't know if you can see it. This is all right. So Davante's on this 5-year, $140 million deal, right? So he's got $16.8 million in base this year. But this is the number you need to look at. This cap hit right here is 25.3. Okay, that 25.3 is what he's on the cap right now. The Jets would be on the hook, I think, for $14 million of that. If they want to bring him on, it's doable for this year. This is the bad year. This is the year you got to be like, oh shit. 2025, but you got the out in 2025. So you finish the contract to take on 15 mil in dead cap, but you can get out in 2025. But you're going to have to restructure because his 44 million here is OD. No one wants a contract with a player that's 32 years old that's making $44 million. That's also why Davante went to Vegas. So Davante made his own bed here. He wanted his bread. I get it. But now you're on an inferior team. You're in a system that makes no sense for you. You have no real quarterback play there. You have a coach that you guys can't stand each other. And now you want to win again. I understand. Life's tough sometimes. Sometimes you make the right decision for money. Sometimes you make the wrong decision for money. All right. So the Garrett Rodgers is like a develop and trusting it will happen. Exactly, Tori. Yep. It's a develop and trust thing. Run your route, get to a spot, the ball will be there. It will be there if you get to your spot. You know? If you don't get to your spot, the ball ain't going to be there. Ask or look at, you can ask, but I'm saying look at what Chad Ochocinco said when he played with Brady in New England, how different life was. And he struggled in New England, Chad, because Chad was used to getting the ball at any time throughout a route. New England is a precise precision passing game. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, get to the spot that the route is supposed to be run through to, and you will get your freaking football. You're not playing in amateur hour football anymore. This is elite level stuff. It's going to take Garrett some time. It took Davante some time. All right, so Holden, listen, you're a very nice guy. You're a smart guy. You got a lot of people that trust you. CT, ESPN, we're really sourcing. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, listen, does Davante want to play with Carr again? They had a very good year one. Again, I just went through the numbers, 100 receptions, 1,500 plus yards. By all accounts, that was electric. Then it fell off a cliff. Does he want to go back with Derek? I don't think so. Davante's a little bit dramatic too. You know what I mean? He's probably thinking about how can I resurrect my career? What's my next best move? So Racing Clip says, how effed are the Jets going to be in 2 years when they have to pay Brees? Very, very effed. And you got to maybe pick two of those. That's why I went on Jake Asman's show about a month and a half ago. I said, Braylon Allen's such a good player. Don't be surprised if in a few years you're not even thinking about paying Brees because you got Braylon Allen. I got laughed at, like I do many times, sometimes warranted, sometimes not. I got laughed at. I got called out that was the dumbest thing they ever heard. Is it the dumbest thing in the world? I mean, I had that much confidence in Braylon, who hadn't played a football game yet, but at this point, that seemed like you would do that now. You would rather keep Braylon on this team on a rookie deal and not even pay Brees. So, but they're going to have to pick two, I think. Unless you want to, I don't know. I mean, you have the Quinnen deal. I don't know where that's at. I think we have an out in 2 years, but it's going to be more difficult. Whoever trades for Davante Adams now has at least $13 million. Yep. In cap space per over the cap. Here are the teams with at least $13 million effective cap space. Ryan, drop that on me, my guy. Drop it on me. Vinny, my dude. What's goody? This isn't beer or anything. I know it's a purple drink. This is an energy drink with benefits. I don't know what the hell that means. I need some more benefits in my life. No, but seriously, this is an energy drink with benefits. So I'm not drinking alcohol. It's actually it's almost 5:30, but I have some stuff to do. Do you think, Frank, if Davante comes here, he makes a significant difference? He will, because Nate Hackett knows Davante's game. The Only player in Nate Hackett's offensive history that he made into a freaking superstar was Davante Adams outside of Aaron Rodgers. So if there's anybody that Nate Hackett knows how to elevate into like superstar level, it's Davante Adams. So yes, he would make a difference. Yes, it doesn't matter about the offensive coaching struggles when it comes to Davante Adams. I was saying if you want to, maybe look at this before this came out with the Davante thing. If you want to look into Amari Cooper, I love Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper runs extremely good routes. I think he'd be like what Lazard's giving us on steroids. I would love Amari Cooper. He might not be able to go along with this coaching staff. He might not be able to do much with this coaching staff. Davante Adams will, though. Davante Adams will. Garrett Wilson's comments in the Bart and Hahn show sounds like he's whining, not lying about the lack of creativity, but don't like the comment. Benny, I don't know what the comment was. If you want to share it with me, I'll open up my DMs now. I'm curious what it was. Listen, man, Garrett Wilson's an intense player. He's a competitive, fiery kind of dude. He does not like that he's not performing to what he thought he'd be doing a month into the season. Garrett thought he was going to be the guy. You saw him in training camp. He's flexing, scoring touchdowns. He's throwing the ball back to fans, throwing passes to the side, to the stands. It hasn't worked out yet, Garrett. I'm sorry. Get those routes down. Learn your route tree a little better. Aaron will find you. So I think we're going to have rumors in the next 6 to 12 hours, and I think a deal, assuming, again, this is all assuming that him wanting out Davante is actually something that Vegas will grant him. You might want out, and then Vegas brings you in and go, listen, blah, 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 blah. And then let's do one more week. So assuming that Vegas is like, yes, no problem. Let's open up the phone lines. This trade will be done in 24 to 36 hours. We're in season. If this was the off season, no, it might take a week. It might take 10 days. This is going to happen fast because of the fact that we're in season. Now, with us, there's an advantage here. I'm talking the Jets, is because Davante Adams has played most of his career with Aaron Rodgers. And he knows Nate Hackett very, very well. So this is more of a seamless thing for us because Davante comes in here and he knows the system already. So this is perfect for us. All right, Benny, I'm going to check this out. All right, so we got Benny just sent me something. I'm curious what it is. I'm going to see if Ryan wants to join. All right. By the way, shout outs to the chat gang. We have right now, we're at 2150. Hell effing yeah. All right. Noah, my guy, fellow U Stadium team guy, the GOAT, Patriots fan though, but he lives in New York now. I told you, Noah, New York's better than Boston. It's definitely better than Kansas City, but we've done enough damage in Kansas City, so we'll just not talk about that. But I'll say this. What if Davante Adams is washed? Yes, that is a great point. I will say that. There is a possibility. I wouldn't say washed at 20. I wouldn't say washed at 31 because 31 isn't 33, isn't 34. I don't think Davante, as much as he invests in himself and his body and what he sort of represents as a receiver and all that he's done. I mean, literally 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, he had 9 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. Last year, Noah, he had 103 catches. The year before that, he had 1,500 plus yards. Davante's got a few years left in him, so I'm not sure if washed is the right way to think about this. But what if he's on his way down, trending down, and you're bringing in someone for a second-round pick, and then you're taking targets away from Garrett Wilson? Is that worth it? Is that a smart thing? Maybe you would have got more value if you invested those targets in Garrett Wilson. But with that said, I'm bringing on my guy from the New York Post. I put this together last minute. All right. So this isn't like a refined product. We're not at the Post Sports here. All right. There's no like glitz and glam. I don't got a bottom thing, but Ryan, what's good, my dude? How you doing?
Frankie, what's going on, man?
Hey, things are good, man. Things are good. I think this is interesting, and I think there's a possibility that something gets done soon here. And hey, man, Davante
Makes a ton of
with Aaron.
sense. It makes a ton of sense.
Well, let's talk about that. I'm curious your opinion. Like how much sense does this really make? I know we all want it. I know it makes sense, but how much sense does this make?
I think it was all a matter of when, not if, right? I think we've been waiting as Jets fans to see if the Jets can make this move and get Davante Adams back with his buddy Aaron Rodgers. This is without a doubt one of the greatest wide receiver quarterback combinations we've ever seen in the NFL. The history that these two have, Rodgers has won MVPs because of this guy. I mean, 622 catches, 7,590 yards, 69 total touchdowns between them both. It makes all the sense in the world. Once he went to Vegas and played with his college guy in Carr, they had some connections, but then the Raiders and was ugliness with Josh McDaniels, and they're like, we want to get rid of Carr. And then Davante's kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, where's the plan? Where's this going? And it just became a matter of when, not if, once the Packers traded Rodgers to the Jets. I am concerned, Frankie, about the offense. We've discussed this every single week now about there's moments where it's like, holy shit, this offense. Can I curse here? Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like there's moments where you say like, holy shit, this offense looks amazing. And then you have moments where it's like, what the hell? This looks like Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle era Jets right now. Like last weekend against Broncos. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's a great coach. We know that, but this is a guy, Davante Adams, who knows the system. And I'm not kidding you. If you pull this trigger, which I do think it's going to happen in the next 24 hours, I think both teams, and you make a great point, I think both Adams and the Raiders want to get this done. The rumors, they're tired of it. They're tired of seeing him on K Adams show, kind of like dodging questions about the quarterback situation and how Pierce is as a coach. I just think they're all sick and tired of it. Just break this up. Let's get this over with. And I think the Raiders are eager to move him. The Jets, you're reading all the reports about Samini and everyone else saying, the teams have been inquiring about Adams for a year now. Plus, the Raiders have said no every single time until this past Sunday. I don't think this is a real injury. I think this was part of the whole Antonio Pierce. We want people are making business decisions out there, and I think Adams, he was kind of referencing there a little bit. I have a great friend who's a diehard Raiders fan, Joe. He was even like, there was clips of Adams going full go in practice on Thursday, looked healthy as ever, and then all of a sudden a hammy comes out of nowhere that week leading up to this past weekend for the Raiders game against the Browns. It's not an injury. They said I think they knew this was coming. But yeah, I mean it's on the Jets. Pull the trigger. It's on Joe Douglas. You have nothing left to lose. You are in the final year of prove it, get to the playoffs, go all in. This is Rodgers' only guarantee right here for this year. I don't know if he's going to be playing again next year. Worry about the cap stuff later on. That's a future you problem. Right now, you have a problem on your offense. It's not clicking every single week. Adams would be a huge boost to this offense, Frankie. And
let me ask you, what would you give up? Would you just give them what? You'd give them a 2026 second versus next year's second? I mean, would you give them a second and not even try to negotiate? Like, don't even blink? You would give them next year's second potentially too?
Why am I messing around with that negotiation-wise? If you're Joe Douglas. Well, but to your point, like, why am I messing around with this then? Why am I trying to negotiate?
I'll give you the plus and minus. The plus is it gets done. Obviously, just get it done. If you're giving them next year's second, let's say 2025, just give them the second. A team wants a second earlier than later because the coaching staff is still there, the GM's there, etc. Get us that value now so we don't lose our jobs. We can keep our jobs maybe a little longer. The minus there is from the Jets' perspective is if Aaron's got 2 years left, maybe next year with that second rounder, you can build, a piece that is part of something that
Yeah.
could do something. You know what I mean? Like
I
that
hear ya.
window's short. So like that, the value of when that is more valuable in a shorter window now because we're in a shorter window. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I would also counter with you're hoping that second round pick is going to be the end of the second round anyway. It's going to be almost a third round pick at that point. I understand it's a top 100 pick.
Yeah,
you know,
hopefully.
you know, if you're Joe Douglas and the mandate's there, like Woody Johnson, he won't say it. He won't say there's a playoff mandate, but we all know it. There's a playoff mandate for him and this coaching staff as well. If they don't make the playoffs, that's it, man. Your job's gone. Like we'll find the next guy. If you're all in on Aaron Rodgers, the best way for this offense to succeed, and there's an opportunity here, Frankie. The AFC East went 0-3 this past weekend and somehow 0-4 this weekend, but yet the Jets somehow still didn't win a game that they should have won. Like, don't be like I'm in that cycle now after a bad loss. Yesterday was like, God, I cannot stand this team. And now today it's like, all right, let's try and move forward. I have a weird feeling they're going to beat the Vikings this Sunday just because.
I have a weird feeling too, dude. I was going to say that I did the guarantee on your show, on our show. I did the guarantee. I think we're going to win that game. But let me show you something really quick.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. I just looked at the last couple comments that Nate Hackett's had, or the last time really Nate Hackett spoke publicly about Davante Adams. Read this. In week 4, when Nate Hackett was the Broncos coach, look what he said about Davante Adams. You just have to try to slow him down. He's a guy who I've been with for the past 3 years. He's an amazing human being and somebody that's very dear to my heart. But at the same time, we have to stop him. I know that he's a dynamic receiver with how he can get the ball vertically, intermediate, and all over the place. What we're trying to do with Garrett, not working. He is a very smart football player. We're going to have to do our best to contain him as much as we can. Defense is done. But if you read this, you just kind of get a sense of the love that our offensive coordinator, your best friend, your BFF, Nate Hackett has. No, but seriously, like he's going to they were saying, is Rodgers going to lobby for Davante? I go,
yes.
I don't know if he will himself. Nate Hackett will. And Joe Douglas, knowing that quality, that caliber of receivers out available on the market, Douglas is going to do the same. Because remember we spoke about this, how badly the Jets wanted a skill position player. What they wanted in the draft was Roma Dunze.
Yep.
Well, you got the best version of Roma Dunze you're going to see available right now. We didn't address wide receiver. Still, we drafted Corley. He hasn't seen the field. He has 2 catches. We need
play him over Gibson, please.
Please, don't even.
You see what he posted on Instagram?
Corley or Gibson?
Corley.
What'd he post?
He posted the Bart Simpson meme, but then he wrote again. Can I curse?
Yeah, of course.
He goes, I'm gonna push through those motherfuckers. Like he legitimately is ready. Like I think he knows. It's like, dude, I'm sitting behind this guy Gibson.
I don't really like that.
I know.
I don't like that at all.
You're kind of like, dude, your time's coming. We get it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. This is the thing, and we didn't really discuss too much of this. We kind of touched on it in our show, but Malachi Corley needs space. He needs an offense that knows how to get him the ball in space. Does Nate Hackett know how to get the ball to anybody in space? Seriously. Like that, it's that simple. It comes down to that. The guy's advantage, or the one thing Corley can do, maybe the only thing, which is an issue, maybe the only thing he knows how to do is get is get yak. If our offensive coordinator's terrible at putting guys in positions to get yacked, we see Brees trying to play freaking monster truck through the freaking line of scrimmage. Maybe we aren't ready for Malachi Corley.
I don't know.
Malachi Corley's not ready for the NFL. Malachi Corley to me, Rye, is an afterthought. I'm not even thinking about that guy this year. I'm not.
You know what ticks me off though? Like I watched the film yesterday, and it was like. It was painful watching the
you
offense.
Watch it? I haven't. I didn't even want to watch it.
It's painful.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm
going to
watch it.
But you got to watch it. So here's the thing. I think that the offense right now, and this is what I was seeing, is that the wide receivers are not getting open. Like I'm going to be frank. Like it's tight. It's tight coverage all across. Like Garrett Wilson was not open really that much. There were a couple plays that could have been made out there, but there wasn't much. Rodgers, I thought he had great moments, but then he also had moments where you're like, dude, what the hell? So yeah, this is what Malachi Corley posted to Instagram.
You know what? I like it. I do like it. I like the confidence. But you know what? To what you were saying, sorry to cut you off on your last point, but put him in for Gibson. I'm sick of seeing Xavier Gibson. He was the lowest rated guy on the Jets yesterday or 2 days ago. The grades came out yesterday.
Stop throwing 3rd and 8 fade routes to Xavier Gibson. Your tiny kick returner. I think, again, this all comes down to Davante Adams. The deal's going to happen soon. I think it's good. They both want to have this thing done. It's a matter of if Joe Douglas is going to whip it out, throw it on the desk, and say, Raiders, what's it going to take to get this deal done? We want Davante. Davante wants us. We all know this. What's it going to take to get done? And hopefully they can work it out. I'm going to be more shocked, Frankie, if this deal gets done and he's not a Jet than I would be when the deal actually goes through and he's a Jet, if that makes sense. Like,
this is a key point. Do you see this, Ryan? A key point. Adams has no guaranteed money left in 2025. A team can rework his deal. So what I was saying, that $44 million cap hit that he has in 25 and 26, no one's going to want to take that thing on. So like they can rework it. They can extend them out. You know, the longer someone's under contract, the more money they can make.
Listen, Joe Douglas can make a bunch of void years like he does with every other contract. And that could be a future GM problem, right?
You're absolutely right.
Frankie, be honest with me, though. Do you think this happens? Do you think the Jets pull the trigger? And not the Alan Lazard penalty one.
I'm going to do that every show now if I make a good point.
15-yard penalty.
Yeah, hopefully I don't get fined by I don't know who, but whatever. Yes, I do.
All right.
Yes. I think
there it is.
You know why? And before I started the stream, I didn't think it would get done. I think these are like pipe dreams, or not pipe dreams, but they're just like stuff that you kind of plan for and it doesn't really happen. It's like you're not playing Madden here. I think it gets done because of the point that I was bringing up and what we've spoken about in the past. We wanted Rome Odunze in the draft.
They were looking for Malik Neighbors. They were trying to trade up to the Giants to get Malik Neighbors, dude. They wanted a true... I'm opening up a can of worms here with Garrett. I'm very unimpressed the first 5 weeks. I understand he's complaining on Barton Hahn about the routes and the route tree and saying I'm running less than what I did the first 2 years of my career. Dude, you're playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I'm going to be on, and we've talked about this. He does way too much stutter step at the line of scrimmage, and corners are just eating him up. Whether he does it inside on a slant, he breaks to the outside, his moves, it's like part of his freakish ability that makes him so good, but it's also the part where it gets him in trouble, where he's constantly just battling at the line of scrimmage, and the corner's just waiting for him to make the move with the inside or the outside, and then they're just trailing him. There's not much separation there.
You saw that on film? I want to watch him on film. Yeah, he's getting eaten up.
It wasn't even Surtain, dude. Like, I mean, Surtain was eating his lunch, but like everyone else, like I'm telling you, Garrett was not open that much. Like Rodgers, there were moments where Rodgers, I think there was under pressure. And again, you'll see there's some moments where Rodgers missed some guys. Like the Tyler Conklin throw, I think he wanted that one back more than anything else because he even jumped up on all 22 film. Like, God damn it, how did I miss that throw? He's coming over on a crosser and he's wide open.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, and he shorts him by like 10 yards. And you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell was that?
I need to go back and watch Garrett, but over his last 4 games, Garrett Wilson's stat line's not what we wanted, not what we expected. 5 catches, 41 yards, 5 catches, 33 yards. Did have a touchdown.
But what Davante does, if the Jets get, again, this is all a big if. If the Jets trade for Davante Adams, this will open up everything for the offense. Breece Hall, more space. Braylon Allen, lighter boxes.
Yes,
safeties covering Davante Adams. Garrett Wilson will move you to the slot. Mike Williams will be one-on-one. This will give everything that Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett, who's a moron, to coach this offense and actually have an effective offense week in and week out. It'll take pressure off the defense. They'll be able to have prolonged drives, have explosive plays, a more consistent basis. It just, I said at the start of this whole thing when you brought me on, it makes all the sense in the world. It makes too much sense. Too much sense, Frankie.
You want to laugh? Look at this. This is from my guy, Cali Jets. He goes, 2 wide receiver sets. You have Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, and who gets the touchdown?
Solomon Thomas.
Solomon Thomas.
Throw the fade route.
Bro, that is phenomenal.
That's great.
This is the best tweet I've ever seen.
That's great. I'm going to retweet that too.
Yeah, this is fucking.
Let's run it with sort of a Brees Hall on the 1 yard line again.
But Ryan, I'm gonna end this in literally 5 minutes. I'm out of here. We actually have a team call at 6, so I just wanted to get my initial thoughts out. But with this all being said, man, my gut is telling me this gets done. I think if you look at the way that this team wants to operate, if you look at Aaron Rodgers, Nate Hackett, what's been rumored, what Davante wants. What Aaron and Davante want is probably going to be what Aaron and Davante get, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the reality here? I hate keeping it that simple, but if Aaron wants them and Davante wants to come here, we just read all the, boastful stuff and all the, I've never heard anyone speak about anybody like Nate Hackett has spoken about Davante. It'll probably get done. The money is going to be interesting because I think the biggest variable in this, the biggest caveat, the biggest thorn to our side from this happening is Joe Douglas, who's more frugal, who does not just want to put guys under contract because you want it or I want it, or that might make sense. Joe Douglas may not want this to get done for financial reasons. Joe's a frugal guy. That's why Hassan's not here. It's the first time it's ever happened that a team's traded for a player not on their roster and they held out the whole year. So Joe's Joe. So I think Joe's
I'll push back you on a little bit there, Frankie.
Go ahead.
Think of two scenarios with Joe Douglas, specifically when you say frugal. Tyreek Hill, he was all in on that trade. The Jets were offering more for Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs still took the lesser deal with the Dolphins because Tyreek wanted to go to Miami ultimately, and the Jets are willing to pay him as well. I think when Joe Douglas sees opportunity strikes, he's going to go all in and pull that move. He was trying to get Roma Dunze. He was trying to get Malik Neighbors. He was offering picks up for these teams, and ultimately those didn't work out. I just think everything. I mean, even Davante. I saw this from Josina. Even Davante today, and this. I think this is a perfect way to wrap it up too for just me. Davante Adams. Do you miss Aaron Rodgers? How could you not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're right. You're right. I didn't listen to the K Adams thing. Was Aaron a big point to that whole conversation? Was that what was the
big things that she was hitting Davante on were, first off, the Antonio Pierce liking the post that are the Raiders going to trade Davante Adams. Your coach likes an Instagram post. He was not thrilled with that when he was asked about that. And then, Kay goes, "Are you going to talk to Antonio Pierce today?" He goes, "I hope so. I really don't know what's going to happen. I just go take it day by day and take care of my business and handle my workouts and everything." Not a definitive answer at all. And then finally she asked him, "Do you miss your buddy Aaron Rodgers?" And she even asked him about the cadence issues the Jets were having on offense. And Davante defended his guy. He's like, "Listen, that's what makes Rodgers lethal. It's what makes him so great." And he's like, and she goes, "Do you miss him?" He goes, How can you not miss Aaron Rodgers?" I think he wants
something you brought up in the chat. I think so too. Something here, and you brought this up. I mean, listen, crazier things have happened in the NFL. And I know earlier in the show, you're like, "Frankie, you think it's that crazy if Garrett's involved in something we do?" Listen,
I would hate it.
Listen, NFL's crazy. I would hate it too. I would absolutely hate that idea.
But would it shock you?
But if we trade Garrett Wilson for Davante Adams and a first-round pick or two, I don't hate it as much.
The Raiders are rebuilding. Why would they trade a first-round pick?
Maybe they like Garrett. Maybe they feel like no. I'm just saying.
I love you, Frankie. I do.
No, maybe they like Garrett. They like Brock Bowers. I mean, Zamir White stinks, but whatever. They could draft someone. I'm just saying maybe they like something with Garrett and Brock Bowers, and I don't know, but I'm saying there's something there. Maybe they value Garrett as a first rounder, which he was. I mean, he was top 10 pick, wasn't he? So, all right, man. I'm actually closing up shop. I gotta go. We hit 2,500 on the total stream.
Love you, man.
Love you too. Breaking news always does well. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you on Sunday. Later, my guy. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to close up shop. We had 2,500 on the stream. Appreciate you all. U Stadium, we in the house. Davante Adams has requested a trade from Vegas. Will it be the Jets? Or will it be like we reported at U Stadium? Will it be the Washington Commanders? Or will it be the New Orleans Saints? And he goes back with his buddy Derek Carr. Or will it be a special team that we don't know about? And I really hope, or a secret team, I really hope it's not the Kansas City Chiefs, because if I have to see Patrick Mahomes throwing to Davante Adams and them hoist another Lombardi trophy, I will not watch football next year. Okay? If Davante Adams goes to the Chiefs and they win a Super Bowl, I'm not watching football next year. I'm not watching. I'm not doing any post game. This YouTube can be taken over by somebody else. I'm sure more level-headed than me. I am not doing a show next year. I'm not watching football if Davante goes to the Chiefs. Because right now I'm seeing some stuff with the Chiefs and Rice is not going to be there. We need Davante. Don't make it happen, Joe. If he's going to the Chiefs, do everything you can to stop it. Like they need to do right now on the freaking front line with this shipping crisis going on. We got a shipping crisis. Do you know that? Does everyone know that? Pallets from Europe, from overseas can't come in because they're not working on the docks right now. It's unbelievable. Someone's got to stop that. Joe Douglas, if Davante's going to the Chiefs, you got to stop that. All right? With that being said, Frankie V, U Stadium in the house. Check out our app. Download it right there. There o'clock. Can never point right. Download it. Takes are up. People think Davante is going to the Jets. Other people think he's going to the Chiefs. Hopefully not. Other people think he's going to the Commanders. A lot of different options there. But yeah, shout outs to you all. Appreciate the chat. We will be in touch soon. Later.